Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode we're going to be taking a look at a piece by the multidisciplinary artist known as Clark. This episode we're going to talk a little bit about implied motion here. We're going to talk about the framing through placement, and we're also going to talk about the entities born from the AI generative realm. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, you're met with the scene of a single subject set in center space here. And there's really a flow to this work that's kind of inescapable as these webs and cloth kind of drape downward here. And this is accented through this kind of light on dark contrast, really draws the eye and accents, kind of elevates the visual impact of the scene here. And so we see what appears to be a tree or a bush that seems to sprout from our subject. And this is quite interesting. It kind of creates a kind of visual island that kind of frames the subject and of course also elevates the visual impact of our subject's form as well. So that alongside of course the aforementioned center placement and then also the contrast, so three different elements are already all working together to also elevate the impact of our scene here. And so finally there's also one more here, and it's that use of gold. So we have a sense of color-based rarity here. So that rare color of gold really draws the eye, and of course it draws the eye to the base of our subject as well. So all of these are all working together to converge on one center point, and that is the center entity here. So whether the AI or the artists themselves, they're all trying to really call our attention to the center subject here for whatever reason. It's kind of hard to say for sure, but the impact though is just undeniable. And so with that in mind, we also see next to this gold is this really nice sense of cloth here, and it also seems like webbing as well, kind of spider webs. There's this wispy or kind of hazy effect to that as well. Also gives us a sense of texture, a sense of energy, and there's no doubt that this radiant gold draws the eye. Of course, those tones are some of the the most striking colors within the work at hand. I said strikingest, no. So yeah, really nice work here, and that also gives us a bit of visual energy as well. And so it's quite strange, we see what appears to be spider webs in the work at hand. So this is unsettling, it's hard to say for sure. My eye is drawn to the webs as the most unsettling nature. We also see kind of a vague identity of our subject, so it's hard to say who the identity of our entity is, although there's no doubt that this feels a little unsettling. It's not very horrific, although it is quite unsettling. And I saw, near the descending region, it almost looks like a stormy ocean. Although I can't say that for sure. It could just be part of that kind of wisp of those webs or the drapery of the cloth. It's hard to say for sure, but my eye is definitely drawn to that as some type of ocean or raging storm. Of course, though, it's hard to say for sure, but there's no doubt that there's just this inescapable sense of energy within the work at hand. Of course, you have those constant curves, and we know what curves do. Any type of curve is a sense of implied motion that, of course, invigorates the visual experience and gives us an amazing sense of visual energy. So those are all very important whenever we're looking at this work. So there is this sense of flow present here. It's not overpowering, but it is quite a bit of visual energy. So that's always important to know. So yeah, we talked about how the subject is elevated through color-based rarity. The subject is elevated through texture, elevated through placement in the center. The subject is elevated through a light on dark contrast. So many different things are drawing our eye to the center, and it's really important to take a note of that. Whether you're an artist or someone who just likes looking at art, you can always use these elements to take into your own inspiration and to really kind of level up your works and the visual impact of the elements within your canvas. And so with that in mind, we see what appears to be an artificial entity, and it's quite strange now that we can create such lifelike visual entities, and this entity is very, very strange. We don't have the identity, but it does have a humanoid type of form here. What appears to be a right arm, but no left arm, kind of glitched, a little bit of chaos within the work at hand, but it's really, really nice. There's a bit of chaos, but there's way more order, because that order is exactly what makes us look at this and say, oh, that might be a person, because we see, of course, head, shoulder representation, what appears to be part of an arm, and then the torso going down. And of course, it drapes outward as well. So there is this sense that we're looking at something that's human-esque, but not quite human. So that could also be the unsettling nature of the work at hand. But there's no doubt we're looking at some type of entity though it's hard to say for sure exactly what. One last thing I wanted to note are these kind of natural motifs within the work at hand. It looks like a white rose there. I can't say that for sure, although we do see these natural motifs, whether it's the kind of tree or bush type of figure, whether it's those individual flowers that seem to sprout from there. All of those really give us a natural scene, of course, also give us that sense of energy or that flow within the work at hand. And so this is also an AI generative art piece. I'm not sure exactly what program it was made on. If I had to guess, I would say Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, although I can't say with absolute certainty. This was created by the multidisciplinary artist known as Clark. This was created by the multidisciplinary artist known as Clark. So he works with photography as well as, mixed media edits, as well as AI generative art, which we see before us. So it's hard to say what program for sure, but there's no doubt that we really see something quite interesting here. So, what does it mean now that we can create such divine scenes? What does it mean that we can now generate these entities that seem to stare right back at us? I think that's an incredibly interesting thing to talk about, and it's really interesting to note here. So hope you guys enjoyed. Really, really nice work, great sense of visual energy. Just seeing this, and it almost was just staring right back at me. I knew I had to study, write, and talk about it. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys enjoyed this episode, go check out the original artist. It's going to be the multidisciplinary artist known as Clark or Clark Sensei. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We talked quite a bit about a different element. So I hope was a very well-rounded and enlightening discussion. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art, and I'll see y'all on the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.